Every person in America liked Christmas a lot, but the TSA who lived and worked in D.C. did not. The TSA hated freedom and the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be that their heads weren't screwed on quite right. It could be perhaps their neckties were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that their brains were 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, their brains or their ties, they set about inventing rules worth despise, staring down their noses on us with big frowns, all freedom lovers from big cities to small towns. For folks nationwide from that end to the other plan to spend holidays with one another.
And they're buying their tickets,
TSA snarled with a sneer.
Heavy traveling for Christmas, it's practically here.
Then they strained with their tiny brains trying.
We must find a way to keep people from flying. For very soon we know all the people near and far will wake bright and early and rush to their car with Christmas cheer and the joy. Oh, the joy, 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 joy. Holiday excitement and joy, 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 joy. And on Christmas Day they'll sit down to a feast, and they'll feast, and they'll feast, and they'll feast, 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 feast. With hot apple cider they'll eat rare roast beast, and mint Christmas pies till their waists have increased. And then they do something we hate most of all. Each of those people, the tall and the small, will go caroling after eating their fill. They'll go house to house, spreading goodwill. And they'll sing, and they'll sing, and they'll sing, 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 sing. Peace on earth and other nonsense sublime. Pursuit of happiness, it's all thought crime. Over 200 years we've put up with it now. We must stop freedom to travel, but how?
Then they got an idea. An awful idea. The TSA got a typical awful idea.
How about this for a start?
They laughed in their throats.
We'll make them take off their shoes and their coats.
And they chuckled and clucked.
How about more grinchy tricks? Let's add pat-downs just to be complete dicks. All we need is a scanner.
The brass looked around, but since they aren't safe, there were none to be found. Did that stop the old bastards?
Ha!
TSA simply said.
If we can't find cancer machines, we'll make them instead.
So they called up Chertoff and offered piles of cash and blitzed the media with fear-mongering trash. Then to screw people further and add more commotion, they decreed 3 ounces max for toothpaste and lotion.
And baggage toiletry,
one bureaucrat wailed.
Hassle-free travel will be completely curtailed.
It was dark at the airport. Quiet snow filled the air. Travelers had come early to allow time to spare, for the process was slow now beyond compare.
This will be fun,
the dictators hissed, and they took to their stations, clenching their fists. All the lines in the airport advancing by inches, but no one spoke up to challenge these Grinches. For the illusion of safety free from attack, security theater begins in the back.
Let's first cut off these baggage locks. We promise no stealing,
said those dishonest cocks. Then they slunk through the luggage with smiles most unpleasant, getting grubby fingerprints upon every present. Pop guns, pan pullers, pantukas, and drums, checkerboards, thistlewings, popcorn, and plums. Then on down the line they sent the whole bunch, haphazardly smashing the bags with a crunch. Bag inspectors aside, there's a type even meaner, the cause of long lines, the TSA screener. Performing nude scans and pat-downs and more, these domestic enemies of Amendment 4. One bitter agent bent on screwing with lives gave extra security to daughters and wives. For the approaching mom, he raised scanning power. Her naked body would be online within hours. The next family member to come into view was little Cindy Lou who was no more than 2. She stared at the agent and said,
"Why, TMK? Why are you taking our food away? Why?"
But you know that agent was so brainwashed and thick, his training kicked in to recite the old shtick.
"Why, my sweet little tot,"
the professional lied,
"we're making it safer to have your plane ride. We're stopping the terrorist agenda, my dear, and those seeking to control you with fear."
And his fib fooled the child, and the irony lost of stopping terrorism at far greater cost. With a creepy smile and thinking thoughts quite unclean, he groped the young girl and waved her past the machine. Then the last thing he said,
"With the threat level so dire, not even adult diapers are safe from inquire. Grandma bombers and wheelchairs,"
explained the old liar. And not one speck of pushback from the man of the house, for his courage was even too small for a mouse. And so tyranny advances without any friction, because Americans are pussies lacking conviction. It was 1:15, all the lines still a-crawl, all the crowd not allowed their dignity at all. The Christmas decorations seemed lifeless and hollow, the cold weary travelers had orders to follow. Christmas spirit was crushed, TSA had succeeded, those uppity passengers got the beatdown they needed.
"Pooh-pooh to freedom, Americans are fools. They don't get there's no end to new rules. They'll never wake up, I know just what they'll do. They'll pause for each policy a minute or two. Then the sheep will give in, thinking, what can you do? Now,"
grinned control freaks,
"we've finally achieved an open view police state that no one believed."
But that couldn't happen in the land of the free. At least, in theory, it was hyperbole. But that just isn't true. Why, in fact, we are screwed. For everyone in America, the tall and the small, was obeying Big Brother. No defiance at all. We haven't stopped tyranny from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And it's been steadily growing since a decade ago, with few even asking, how could it be so? It came without protest. It came without impedance. It came without outcry or civil disobedience. You can puzzle for hours till your puzzlers are sore, eventually realizing what you hadn't before. Maybe freedom, you think, can't just be hoped for. Maybe freedom, perhaps, takes a little bit more. And what happens now to dissolve TSA? Well, our small balls must grow 3 sizes today. And then the true cost of freedom shines through, and we each find the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2. And the minute our balls don't feel quite so light, we'll march on the Capitol, we'll march day and night. With a smile in our souls, we'll descend on those crooks, cheerfully repealing that crap from the books. We'll ride in airplanes, even with bottled waters. We'll bring back no groping for our wives and our daughters. We'll bring back our dignity and tringlers and fuzzles. We'll carry on, if we choose, our dafflers and wuzzles. We aren't just sheep getting dumber and fatter. And you yourself, could be the voice that most matters. Welcome Christmas, bring your cheer. Cheer to all who's far and near. Christmas Day is in our grasp, so long as we have hands to clasp. Christmas Day will always be, just as long as we have we. Welcome Christmas while we stand, heart to heart and hand in hand.